Deep within the emerald heart of the Amazon, a fever burns. It's not a sickness of the body, but of the soul, a shimmering obsession that has driven men mad for centuries. It's the legend of El Dorado, the gilded man, the lost city of gold. Imagine a place where gold is as common as stone, where temples gleam under the tropical sun, and a king covered head to toe in gold dust glitters like a living god before plunging into a sacred lake as an offering. This isn't just a treasure hunt. It's a quest for a dream, a collision of worlds that left a trail of ambition, ruin, and enduring mystery. What if I told you the truth behind the legend is even more astonishing than the fiction? That the real El Dorado was both more and less than a city paved with gold, and the pursuit of it reshaped the map of a continent. Join us as we journey into the heart of an obsession, to separate the man from the myth and uncover the real story of El Dorado. The tale kicks off not with Spanish conquistadors, but with the Muisca people, nestled high in the cool Andes of what we now call Colombia. For them, gold wasn't just money. It was a way to connect with the divine. It was sacred, a shining piece of the sun's energy. At Lake Guatavita, a spot thought to be a portal to the spiritual realm, an incredible ritual unfolded. When a new chief, or Zipa, took charge, he was prepped for a ceremony of huge importance. His body got slathered in sticky resin, and then fine gold dust was sprinkled all over him until he sparkled like a golden statue. This was El Dorado, the gilded man. He would be ferried to the lake center on a raft, surrounded by his priests. As the sun peeked over the horizon, he tossed offerings of gold and emeralds into the dark waters before diving in himself, washing the gold off and completing the sacred offering. It was a powerful display of faith, a renewal of the bond between the people and their gods. But when the treasure-hungry Spanish caught wind of this golden ritual, the story shifted. A ceremony morphed into a city, and a gilded man turned into a kingdom of endless riches. The first to chase this golden phantom was Gonzalo Jimenez de Quesada in 1536. He led 800 men from the sweltering Caribbean coast into the unknown interior. They faced jaguars, venomous snakes, and constant attacks. Starvation and disease were their relentless companions. After a brutal 9-month trek, fewer than 200 men staggered into the Muisca territory. They found a sophisticated civilization, rich in agriculture and craftsmanship, but no city of gold. They found gold ornaments, yes, and emeralds, but the vast quantities they dreamed of remained elusive. They conquered the Muisca, tortured their leaders for information that didn't exist, and yet the legend only grew stronger in their failure. The more men died searching, the more real the prize seemed. It was a self-perpetuating fantasy. Soon others followed, each more desperate than the last. There was Sebastian de Belalcázar, marching up from Peru, and Nikolaus Federmann, a German leading a rival expedition. In a bizarre twist of fate, all three expeditions, Quesada's, Belalcázar's, and Federmann's, converged on the same highland plateau at almost the same time in 1539, nearly sparking a war amongst themselves over a treasure that wasn't even there. The lure of El Dorado was so powerful, it turned would-be allies into bitter rivals, all grasping at the same mirage. The ultimate irony? They had found the home of the El Dorado ritual, but in their greed, they couldn't see the truth. They only saw what they wanted to see: a city of gold just beyond the next mountain range, just down the next river. The tale kicks off not with Spanish conquistadors, but with the Muisca people, nestled high in the cool Andes of what we now call Colombia. For them, gold wasn't just money. It was a way to connect with the divine. It was sacred, a shining piece of the sun's energy. At Lake Guatavita, a spot thought to be a portal to the spiritual realm, an incredible ritual unfolded. When a new chief, or Zipa, took charge, he was prepped for a ceremony of huge importance. His body got slathered in sticky resin, and then fine gold dust was sprinkled all over him until he sparkled like a golden statue. This was El Dorado, the gilded man. He would be ferried to the lake's center on a raft surrounded by his priests. As the sun peeked over the horizon, he tossed offerings of gold and emeralds into the dark waters before diving in himself, washing the gold off, and completing the sacred offering. It was a powerful display of faith, a renewal of the bond between the people and their gods. But when the treasure-hungry Spanish caught wind of this golden ritual, the story shifted. A ceremony morphed into a city, and a gilded man turned into a kingdom of endless riches. In a panic, Pizarro sent his lieutenant, Francisco de Orellana, downriver in a makeshift boat to find food. But Orellana and his men were swept away by the current and never made it back to Pizarro. Instead, they journeyed further down the river, becoming the first Europeans to explore the entire Amazon. They faced fierce warrior tribes, including some badass female fighters, which inspired Orellana to name the river the Amazon. While Orellana was out there making history, Pizarro returned to Quito with just a handful of survivors, his dream of El Dorado completely crushed. Ironically, his search for a mythical city ended up showcasing the incredible scale and beauty of South America, but the obsession wouldn't die. Perhaps the most famous and flamboyant seeker was Sir Walter Raleigh, the English courtier and explorer. In the late 16th century, he sailed to South America, convinced he could find El Dorado, which he called Manoa, and claim its riches for England. He captured a Spanish governor who told him grand tales of the Golden City, likely just to get rid of him. Raleigh explored the Orinoco River, writing a wildly popular book, The Discovery of Guyana, which described Manoa in fantastical detail, firing up the imaginations of all Europe. His descriptions were pure marketing genius, blending fact, hearsay, and outright fiction. His expedition found little gold, but his book cemented El Dorado in the popular consciousness as a real, attainable place. This obsession would ultimately cost Raleigh his life. Years later, he returned on a final, desperate expedition. When his men attacked a Spanish outpost against the king's orders, Raleigh was arrested upon his return to England and executed, a final victim of the Golden Fever. Over the centuries, countless attempts were made to drain Lake Guatavita. In the 1580s, a merchant named Antonio de Sepulveda used a system of human chains with buckets, managing to lower the water level significantly. He found hundreds of gold artifacts, a tantalizing glimpse of the treasures below. But his success was short-lived. A landslide killed many of his workers, and the project was abandoned. In the early 20th century, a British company actually succeeded in draining the lake completely. They were met with a heartbreaking sight, a bottom of deep, soft mud that the sun quickly baked into a concrete-like surface, making excavation impossible. By the time they could break through, the mud had sealed the lake's treasures forever. They found a few trinkets, but nothing close to the legendary haul. The lake had protected its secrets. So was El Dorado real? Yes and no. The Gilded Man, the Muisca ritual, was absolutely real. It was a ceremony of profound spiritual importance, misinterpreted by outsiders as a sign of unimaginable material wealth. The lost city of gold, Manoa, was a myth, a fabrication born from a misunderstanding and fueled by insatiable greed. The true legacy of El Dorado isn't a hoard of gold waiting to be found. It's the story of obsession itself. It's the story of how a dream can drive exploration, reshape continents, and destroy civilizations. It's a powerful reminder that sometimes the greatest treasures are not made of gold, but are the stories and cultures that our quest for riches can so easily extinguish. The search for El Dorado ultimately revealed more about the searchers, their hopes, their fears, and their limitless capacity for both wonder and destruction, than it ever did about a lost city of gold. The real gold was the truth, and it was buried all along, not underwater, but in plain sight. Thank you so much for joining us on this journey into history's most captivating legend. If you enjoyed this exploration, don't forget to hit that like button, subscribe to our channel, and ring the bell so you never miss another adventure into the past. We'll see you next time.